Let's see what we can create with a Cricut Mug Press. In this video, we're going to be using the Cricut Mug Press, and I've got some blanks there that we're also going to be using. These are Sublimation Ready blanks. We have a 20-ounce tumbler. We have three 15-ounce mugs. One is an insulated mug, and we have a 16-ounce frosted Libby glass can jar. I'll put these links in the description below, but some of the things that we're going to be using today is sublimation paper. I use 125. I either use A sub 125 or HTV Ront 125. In this video, it will be HTV Ront. We're going to need some heat-resistant tape. We're going to need some gloves, heat-resistant gloves, because this gets very hot. Tape measure, scissors. I'm going to be using silicone wraps because a couple of our blanks are not quite tight enough in the Cricut Mug Press. And then I have a measuring mat there, and I have some coffee filters that we're going to use for cleaning. The reason that I'm going to need those silicone pads is because this press does not get tight enough for the 20-ounce tumbler or for the 16-ounce Libby glass can jar. So what the silicone sheets will do is it'll help tighten the press up. Because for sublimation, we know that it needs to have pressure, time, and temperature. So these silicone wraps that I have three thicknesses. So I'm using the thickest one because I put them in to test them in my Cricut Mug Press just to see how tight they are. And for both of them, it did need the thickest silicone wrap. And again, I will have the link for that in the description below. And with all sublimation projects, we need to have some wonderful PNG images, and I use Creative Fabrica. I have an all access account. They have a great deal going on. I strongly suggest getting an all access account to Creative Fabrica. I have the link below for that as well. This is just showing some of the wonderful bundles that they have, PNG bundles. These are just some of the recent ones. Now in my Creative Fabrica account, when I download something, it saves it in my downloads. And so after I found the images that I want to use for these projects, I downloaded them. And then you can see that they come with a license key on the right there. This is the image that I picked for the Libby glass because it's real dark. And for the Cricut Mug Press, I wanted a dark image because I actually do my Libby glass in an air fryer, and I'll put a link to that below too, but they do work in the Cricut Mug Press. So after you download, you're going to want to open your zipped folder and then just pick out the images that you want and save them as the PNG. Now we're ready to start designing. So I've opened a new Word document. I do my designing in Word. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to Layout. And I am going to make the size 8.5 by 11, but I am going to make the orientation landscape. And then I have some preset margins here, and I usually pick 0 for that. So that's where we're going to start. Now that I have those images downloaded and ready to go, I'm going to start designing. So the first thing we'll do is I will bring in the first images here. I think what we'll start with is the glass jar, the Libby can. So I measured my Libby glass can jar, but I also measured how high I could press it in the Cricut Mug Press without flipping it. I'm going to turn it, but I won't be flipping it. And so I am going to do it about 4¼ inches high and 9.75 inches wide. So as you can see over here, this is way too big. So I'm going to start because it's at 11 right now. So I'm going to move this down to not about 9.75. That's 9.7. That's pretty close. Right there. 9.8, it's a little too big, but I'd rather have it a little under than a little over. So we'll leave that at 9.7. Then the top, we are going to move that just a little bit. That's pretty close. 4.71. That's pretty close to that 4.75. And then the 9.7 here. Now, really important in Word is you want to click the wrap and through feature so that you can move it around on the page. Because if you don't do this, you're not able to move this around. I am going to move it a little bit away from my margins there. So now I'm going to do, this is going to be the Libby glass can jar that we're going to do. And I picked dark colors for that because we're using a frosted glass can. So now I'm going to insert, we'll do one of the cups. So we will get, I'm going to put a background in. I brought this one in, but I don't think it's going to fit on this page. So I'm going to do a different design here. We're going to pick this one here, this green. So again, you need to wrap and through, and you can also do that up here where it says wrap and through. And that's because now I can move this and change it and layer it and do what I need to do with it. So we are going to, actually, that should be run through a background remover because if you can see when I bring this up, there is a background in there. So maybe we'll go and run this through a background and then I will come back and finish. Okay, so I went into Adobe Express, so adobe.com/express, and you have a free background remover. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that image in here, that background that we were using. Let's see here. Can't remember what color we picked. I'll pick the green one. And I will upload that so that we can remove this background. So we have a clean PNG because when I put it on my mug, I don't want to have any dark color behind this image. That will distort the color. There we go. So now I'm going to download this and then we'll get back to our design. Now that we have that background removed, I'm going to insert it here. So insert picture, and this is the one that I removed the background on. The other one is down there. So I'm going to pull this in so that you can see the difference. And of course, I'm going to do the wrap and the through. So now you can see that that white background is gone, but on this one, the white background is still there. So that's the one I want to get rid of. We do not want that white background showing because it will show up on the mug. So now I'm going to check my size here. So it's about 3.5 by almost 5. So that's too wide. I measured my mugs, and on one of them, I'm just going to put this image, and I'm going to insert some words that I downloaded earlier. The best journey always takes us home. And so now I'm going to wrap and through this so that I can layer it. And then we can move this, tweak it. You do not have to leave it that way. You can stretch it both ways here. You can distort it any way that you want, make it your own. You can tip it a little bit here or whatever you decide to do. But that looks pretty cute, I think. The best journey always takes us home. Now I'm going to play with color up here because I want to show you in Word. If you go to the picture format, there is a color tab and you can change the color. There are other variations too, but sometimes it doesn't let you do other variations. See, no, it didn't let us do that. But if we go to color here, these colors are what you can change this to. So I could put it in blue. I don't want that though. I just wanted to show you how easy it is that you could change the colors. So now we're going to leave that one the way it is. And I am going to do another image here. I don't know which one I want to do. These are going to be on the coffee cups. The tin one I want to do a wrap on, I think. but the other coffee cup could have a cute mom image. I think Mother's Day is coming up, and I really thought this mama bear, this blessed mom, I like the blessed mom. Here is a blessed mama, some more mamas here. I think I'll do this blessed mom one. I'm going to bring it in. I'll do the wrap and through up here this time. And that brings your image in, and you can see that it's got a clear background, so it's just the way we want it. And now I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to size it up. Now this image is going to be a little harder to size because there is so much, see the distance between this dot and the word. And so we're just going to kind of guess at it based off of the other one that I know what size that one is. So I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger here. And I think that's about right. So now we've got 2 coffee mugs and we have got a wrap. All right, here we are at our next page, and we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to make sure that we're 8.5 by 11. We're going to change our orientation to landscape, and we're going to set our margins to 0. Now we're going to insert this. Maybe I'll do the tumbler on this one. So the image that I chose, chose the dragon eye, but I kind of decided to stay away from that one because of tipping the tumbler up and down in the Cricut Mug Press. So I thought something with a little bit more white background and some dark colors might be better for this. So I am gonna up this a little bit. It came in at 8.2 by 9.3, and that is a standard 20-ounce tumbler. But I always up mine a little bit just for the fact that I don't like having things too tight. So now this one's ready to go, but I'm also going to do the wrap and through just because I do that on everything in case I do have to move it when I go to print this. So now we'll go on to now this will be our final print. So the first thing I'm going to do again is I'm going to go to layouts, orientation. I'm going to do landscape. We want the size 8.5 by 11, and we're going to set our margins to 0. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a background because this one is going to be that tin cup, and I'm going to use this background. Now I measured that tin cup, and it is, I am going to go with 4 inches up and down here, and it is 8.75. Now, I don't want to go any wider than that. There is going to be some white behind it, but otherwise the mug press, it just doesn't get enough pressure on these ends. So I'm going to drop this down. That's 8.25. That's too far. 8.75 is what we want. So we're going to go up here. That's a little too far, but I want this at 4 on the top. So it's going to be 4 inches up and down, and I still want to get this at 8.75 here. Well, about a 1/4 inch yet. 9. If I change it here, see what we get. Yeah, it changes the top too. But you know what? That's pretty close. 3.98 by 8.75. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this because I can fit 2 of them on the sheet. And again, I'm going to do the wrap and through because I can't move these where I want them unless I do the wrap and through. So now I'm going to move it down because I don't want them that close together. And I put one at the bottom and one at the top. Now we're going to start inserting some other things to design this out. So I downloaded some white, they're called bleach spots, and I really like these. You can do a lot with them. So I'm going to use this one on the top one, and we'll use a different one on the bottom one. So again, you do the wrap and the through, you get that bleach spot to come up then. Then we can change this to any size that we want, and you can stretch it out. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to stretch this out, get it nice and centered here. This is kind of a guess and by gosh when you're centering it on here. I will also, you know, you always want to measure everything so that you know exactly where it's going to be. Now, insert the next bleach spot. I'm going to use a round one this time. If I can find it. This one right here. They're hard to see when they show up in there. So wrapping through brings it in. And now we're going to, whoops, lost it here. No, this one. Now we're going to shrink it down so that I can get it where I want it in my image. Okay, so this one's not going to do exactly what I want, but close enough here. Move this over. Now we can add things on to that bleach spot. So let's see what we want to add. See if I have anything that'll work in here with this blue. I'm not real sure if I like anything to put in there of what I've downloaded, but we're just going to do it because this is what I have. So how about this butterfly? Put that in one. So wrapping through again. And then you can also layer here, bring forward, send backwards. See how that works? Bring it forward, send it backwards. So now we are going to shrink this baby down so I can get it to fit in a bleach spot here. Maybe I'll put that one here and this one. I am only going to press one of these, but I just wanted to get it so that you could see how you can start layering in Word. Okay, the next one we're going to do, let's see here, something cute. Oh, maybe this one. Well, I don't like that, just you. How about this one? Be nice or buzz off. There we go. So now again, you're going to do the wrap and the through so that that brings that forward on your page. And I think I'm going to change the color of that background so that it matches a little bit better also. But we're going to pull this in, shrink her down, get her right in there nicely. That's kind of cute. Maybe I'll make this a little more oval instead of round. There we go. And move him over a sec. Get it over there. And then bring him in. Oh, cute. I do like that. Okay, so make it a little smaller. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to click on, I'm going to highlight this background. See, when I click on the background, the dots show up there. So I'm going to go into color and see what we can do here. Change this color out because it just doesn't quite match. That's cute, but let's see what else we can do here. Because I do like the background, the color, I just didn't like that with the bee. Oh, that's kind of cute with the gold. So let's go see what we can do with the butterfly here too. Let's see. Can't remember what color she was. Ooh, that is pretty too. But let's see if I can find something a little different here. Maybe the green. No, well, kind of. But you can change that. You can go to artistic effects and there's more options. You can go over here to artistic effects and there's all kinds of things that you can do. You can bring in different color options. You know, it's just different things that you can do. You can change the transparency, you know, all this too. But right now, I'm not keen on that green. So I'm going to go back in here. Maybe do that in the orange. That does look pretty with it. I'm going to center that butterfly a little bit better here. And now I am going to go through the printing on how to print. So now all of these will be printed the same. You're going to go up to File and Print. And I am using an Epson EcoTank 2760, which I have converted over to a sublimation printer by putting sublimation ink into it. And we're going to go into printer properties and we are going to make sure that premium presentation paper matte is selected. Quality we want on high, of course, color. Now we're going to go up to more options. And in image options, you want to have emphasize more and emphasize thin lines. You want to make sure that high speed is off. You do not want high speed, and you always want to mirror your images for sublimation. So now we're ready to print this. Because I have my margin set to 0, it will come up and ask you if you're sure you want to print with this size margins, and just hit yes. And here are the 3 sublimation prints. The first one I'm going to do is the Libby jar. So I clean it real well, and I actually use a coffee filter to clean. There's no lint, and so that cleans it real well. I also cut my image down. You can see there that I trim it right down because I don't want any stray ink on there. And then I tape lightly. I do not over tape. And this is heat resistant tape, like I said earlier. You're going to preheat your Cricut Mug Press. And then I wrap the silicone wrap around this Libby glass can. And so what I did is I left the seam towards the front, towards the door, and I pressed for 4 minutes with the seam out. And then I opened it, I turned the seam to the inside, and I pressed it for 2 more minutes. Then I flipped it upside down, and I pressed it for 4 minutes with the seam out. And then I turned it for 2 minutes with the seam in. And here's that Libby glass jar right out of the Cricut. The next one I did was the insulated 15-ounce tin cup. And that barely fits into this Cricut Mug Press, but it does fit. It takes a little to get it down in there, and it's very snug when it's closed. You can see on the right there what it looks like when it's closed, and that will explain to you why you have to leave a white area. So I don't do a lot of full wraps on my coffee cups because you always will have a white area with them. So what you're going to do is you're going to measure from the handle on both sides to line your image up. And then I put it in the Cricut Mug Press and I run it through for 1 cycle. Again, just be very careful with these when they come out of the Cricut Mug Press. They are extremely hot. And here it is after I unwrapped it. And this is the 20-ounce tumbler. You can see on the bottom there that I lightly wrap. I do tape it to the bottom just so that it doesn't move when I'm flipping it up and down in the Cricut Mug Press. And so what I did is I did the same thing as I do with the glass can. I wrapped it with a silicone wrap, and then I put it in for 4 minutes with seam out. And then I opened it and I turned the seam to the back and I pressed it for 2 more minutes. Then I flipped it completely upside down, and then I pressed it for 4 minutes with the seam out. And then I turned it and pressed it for 2 minutes with the seam in. And again, extremely hot. But as I started the reveal, I was pleasantly surprised. I have 2 different ceramic mugs that I'm doing. One is a Cricut mug, and the other one is just a generic. They are both sublimation ready mugs. And so on the left there, I actually have a mat that I've put arrows on, so it helps me to center my design on my mug. So after I cut my design down, I will crease it in the center so that when I put it on my mug, I use those arrows on that mat to help guide me, and I use minimal tape again on these. On these ceramic mugs, I do use protective paper because I go over the design with the protected paper because they have a lot of white area, and I don't want to pick up any residual ink in my Cricut Mug Press or just anything that's floating around. And as you can see, I did the reveal here on the right, and you can see that the paper did very well on that. Coffee filters are my go-to. And here are all the projects together that we did in the Cricut Mug Press. Please check out my links in the description below. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe and have a great day.